Greetings, my excellent friends. It is Sunday, September 8th, 2024, here in hot and oppressively humid Tokyo, Japan. I am so ready for fall, and I am the Hobby Drifter here back once again with another video, this time looking at some Gridman stuff. Now, when I was much younger, I believe 5th or 6th grade in elementary school, I loved Superhuman Samurai Cyber Squad, largely on the back of being both a big fan of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers and of toys in general, and of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers toys being really difficult to get. But it had a lot of the stuff I liked about Power Rangers, the superhero outfits, the big robots, of course, and you could actually get your hands on the toys. So that was a big benefit for me. I've wanted a set of these guys in my permanent collection display for a long time, but unfortunately the Japanese originals are honestly prohibitively expensive. They are really up there in price. Not a whole lot of them out there, and the ones that are already in collectors' hands. I want to say the last time I saw any of these for sale was the original Thunder Gridman set, and it was like $600 at Mandadake, and I didn't $600 want what I remember calling synchro. So when I heard about these things, I was pretty excited until I heard about how much they cost. They were not cheap, but also they were not terribly popular, so they did get cheaper as time went by. So I've had these for a little while now. I've had them on my shelf. I've had them off my shelf. I am again trying to cut down on space consumed by boxes. So at the end of this video, I am going to throw these boxes in the trash and just keep these sweet toys within. These are not perfect things. As usual, I am not doing a review. I'm just gonna take a look at them and you can decide for yourself. I will provide some commentary though. This is also something I picked up recently. It was in Fukuoka. Love Fukuoka. It was in Mandadake. Love Mandadake. And the one in Fukuoka has a really nice nerd book section. And I picked up this classic Gridman full series compendium thing. They did these for all the Power Ranger series too. It's just a nice photo reference for all the stuff in Gridman, the suits, the characters, and everything. Before the days of the internet, these were what you wanted. I believe there's a Kindle version now. This was fairly expensive for a while. Price has gone down, possibly due to the Kindle version. It cost me, I don't know, $10-15. So happy to have that in the collection. So we got two things here. There's the Thunder Gridman with who I remembered calling Servo, Xenon, and Synchro. The Japanese names Gridman, Thunder Gridman, and God Xenon. And then we've got the King Gridman with Drago, which was always my favorite as a kid who couldn't get his hands on a Dragon Zord, along with King Gridman, who I remember as Formo, and Gridman Sigma version, which I've been told was just something that the creators of, more recent creators came up with because they wanted to have both of the combined modes together in one story. So I'm going to start with this one. This is the first one that I picked up. I don't know exactly what the original MSRP was, but I got this for 8,000 yen, which was, I don't know, $70 at the time. I think it was before the yen totally crashed. So here's what we got. We got the Dynafighter and the King Jet combined into the Dragon Fortress. I cannot for the life of me remember the Gridman names. It was something like Jam and Torb and Scooter or something. Of course, Dyna Dragon was Drago, and here's King Gridman. They show this largely because you can't actually do this with the figure. You have to take the crown off to sit the head on so that they could get it more accurate to the stuff that they felt was important. So let's take a look here, and we'll get this open. It's 2 trays. They really skimped on this guy on the Gridman Sigma version. It's just a bunch of extra hands and the figure itself. This, of course, is where my excitement came in. It's the King Gridman Drago armor stuff, because it looks just the colors are so close to what I remember the toys looking like as a kid. It's not a one-to-one reproduction. There were some changes made, several of which I don't really agree with. But let's have a look here. So we get the Dragon Jet, or the Dyna Fighter. Very similar transformation. Again, it's not one-to-one, but it's pretty close to what the original was. Love that dragon face. Not a lot of weight to this. There's no die cast or anything. I don't think there was in the original toy either. But I mean, there is like no weight to this at all. It almost feels like one of those model kit versions. But I mean, the paint is very nice. Colors are good. The detailing is very solid. I've got my cat Andy over here. I'm making noise and talking, and he wants to be part of the conversation. Then there's the King Jet, which is more like a jet, right? Which you got to make by putting together these pieces. Nice hidden face there. Yeah. I don't really mind that it's pretty obviously just a top of a robot. And goes together, again, similar way to the original larger sized version. I will say right off the bat, there are some not insignificant quality control issues with this set. It's, like I say, I don't really do reviews, but there are definitely some things in here during the course of this video that you will see, notice, or hear me complain about, because it was like so close to being just what I wanted, but it didn't quite make it. There was a few last minute things in there that I really think should have been taken into account before this thing was released. There we go. There's your King Jet. There's Andy over here meowing again because he hears my voice, but I'm not talking to him. Flip out the. Love the color. I don't know if the color is coming through on the video or not, but like this shade of red is so appealing. And then if you have the patience to get all of the stuff lined up, which I do not, you can combine them into the Dragon Fortress mode, which is just, and this is something that I love about a lot of Japanese robot toys from the 70s, 80s, and 90s, is that weird little in-between mode where it's clearly just there because the toy needs it for part of the transformation, but they give it like its own name. Combattler V did that. So many of these things where it's like, oh, it's a special mode, and it's like, no, it's just half transformed. Um, so yeah, getting it into Drago mode is almost exactly the same as the big one, except that they've got this terrifying little clip here instead of just pegging in like the full-size one did. So I'm always worried I'm going to drop this thing and it's just going to like snap irreparably. That's my concern about a lot of newish toys that are made with the adult collector in mind, is that they're made with the adult collector in mind, so certain standards of quality don't apply like they would if it was a children's toy that is made to be played with and dropped a million times. They assume, adults are going to take better care of their toys, and that's true, but also it's like nerve-wracking to me. This is really annoying. Okay, so this thing, there's like this peg on a hinge that doesn't want to stay out. You're supposed to peg into here. This could have very easily just been like regular plug. This is damn near impossible to get in properly, and you don't even really need it. The dragon stays in pretty well just from having the thing closed on it. So yeah, I'm not even really gonna try to get the plug here, because it just see, it's not plugged in, but it's close enough. It's weird because that's like an entire thing. That's a whole that's a special piece that had to be made, like another moving part. And then we just flip the head back as far as it'll go. Kind of cover it with this. It doesn't really slot in too well, but again, it's good enough. Again, this, I was so excited to get Drago when I was a kid, because that I wanted that Dragon Zord, and I did not get Dragon Zord until I was, I think, 18. It was like years and years later I bought one from another collector, and it was in that sweet spot before Power Rangers stuff was like collectible. It was just stuff that people had bought and hoarded for hoping it would become valuable, and it never really got any more valuable than in those first couple of years. So suck it, scalpers. One of the things about this is that some of the joints are extremely loose and some of them are extremely tight, which is extremely annoying. But we do get Drago here, and unfortunately some of those extremely loose joints are these stabilizing feet back here, which do make it a bit of a hassle for him to stand. Flip up the fins here so he's nice and angry, and then we can pop the head open to show off that mouth here. If I remember correctly, the original had like a thicker bit here that held these things in place, but unfortunately this is all kinds of floppy, which is a shame because this is the mode that I like having him displayed in. But there we go. There is the Dyna Dragon / Drago, and if I let him go, yeah, he's fine. I don't know about you guys, but like I never had him displayed like this with the legs at an angle like this. I always had him standing up taller and with the mouth less creepily done like this. Because that weird open mouth gun thingy was just not too appealing to me. But, like I say, because of the loose joints, having him stand up like this is a bit of a hassle. But there he is. There's the Dino Dragon / Drago, the way that I like having him displayed. Got wings, because dragons have wings. It's almost as beautiful as the one that I remember. But there are, certain sacrifices that had to be made. And one of those sacrifices is that this one, the figure that I was most excited for to, have combined as Formo, came with the Sigma version of Gridman here, which doesn't look as cool and doesn't really correspond to anything that I remembered as a kid. I get it, for people who want to have both of the combined modes displayed at once. It makes more sense to do something like this than just include two different versions of Gridman, or two identical versions of Gridman. Look at him dance. But I would not have minded. The body is pretty much a straight recolor of the regular Gridman. Andy agrees that that's not ideal. The crown is different and very pointy. Like, this is not child friendly. You'll see it more when I talk about the regular Gridmen, but this is also where there's a lot of quality control issues. These joints, some of them were basically melted together when I got it, and I'm kind of too afraid to take a blow dryer to it to loosen them up, because honestly I'm not doing much in the way of dynamic posing with them. But it feels like it's trying to mimic the Figuarts and Mafex thing, but it doesn't do it particularly well. The joints, again, much like with Drago, are either super loose or super thick. This is not what I want my toys to do when I try to get them to stand. But getting him combined into King Gridman / Formo requires taking off the helmet piece here, and getting it back on is not super easy. It is definitely an inconvenience. So that's some nightmare fuel for you, right? I get why they did this. The on-screen version definitely had that big head thing, and having this thing come off prevents the actual combined version having to have a just monstrous light bulb head. When I complain about some of these things too, it comes with 8 extra hands, and it is a fucking nightmare getting these hands to pop on and off. And you'll see why that's even more annoying in just a few moments. Let me rip good old Drago apart and get him into Formo mode. Take these guys off. Pop off the legs. Big old dragon parts here. The show, though, the Superhuman Samurai show, had a lot of what I liked about Power Rangers, but it also took itself, if you can believe it, took itself even less seriously than Power Rangers did. And I'm pretty sure at least part of that was intentional. I mean, some of it could have just been regular 90s, like 90s, old dudes writing shows about computer stuff and not knowing anything about computers. I think there was one episode where the monster was like a computer virus in like a school drinking fountain. So like it was messing up the drinking fountain for the kids at the school. It's like, even when I was, fifth grade. I was like, I don't think that drinking fountains have have a computer in them, but I don't know. It was fun, so I was just go with it. All of the characters were just fun. I mean, they were kids in a band, and they there was the dopey jock and the cute girl next door, and weirdly like Joey Lawrence's brother was there for some reason. None of it made like a lick of sense if you thought about it too much, which you weren't supposed to. But it was a good time. So the instructions explain how to get the feet into this boot correctly. You would think that it would like in the original you just slot it in, but for this one you kind of gotta get it open, then slide the foot in with it halfway open until it like slides in there, which it does not want to do easily. Until it kind of clicks into place like this, but there's really nothing holding it. Like there's no peg or anything, because I mean that would have a peg hole on this hard plastic knee piece, which they don't want to do. So you have to try to do it roughly equivalent to where it goes. There is a connector piece back here, but it is like in a really weird spot. Like getting the foot that far into the thing so that like that slot can click into place is just not an easy thing, and that's a lot of what's going on with this thing. It does look nice once it's all together though. But yeah, back to the TV version, the Superhuman Samurai Cyber Squad. I even as a kid, like I didn't really take Power Rangers like too seriously. I like it was campy to me. It kind of felt like my dad's old like the Adam West Batman shows that we would watch, where it was fun. They were enjoyable. It wasn't straight up comedy, but it was silly. Alright. Why doesn't that look great? Like, doesn't that? I mean, takes a lot of the magic out of it, doesn't it? Clip the body there. Then we get the shoulders, which I'm absolutely positive is going to wind up scraping the paint off of this thing if you do it too much. Which, considering I do like to play around with my toys, even the adult stuff that I pick up, so having to worry that the sometimes very expensive figures are just gonna break or fall apart on you without much provocation kind of sucks, because I mean I played with the 90s versions a lot as a kid. So here is where we get to the absolute worst part of this thing. Again, for reasons that I'm not entirely sure of, I'm guessing it was to try to, maintain some type of show accuracy while not sacrificing the toy accuracy. There's no fists built into these gauntlets. So what you have to do is get these little fists. They're extra, non-attached pieces. Get these little things and plug them into the armholes after you take off the regular fists. And as you can see, it's a very hard plastic ball here that is on a joint that is loose. So getting anything onto these is just more trouble than I would like for a transformation, or a part of the transformation. So you slot these things in, and they hold steady fairly well without this. But then, in order to do this as per the instructions, oh, and of course this one's got the little morpher thing on the wrist so it doesn't hold in. You're supposed to put these and connect these to the stump inside, which just does not happen. So I've got it sitting here, but it's not really held on by anything. It's just, pray that it doesn't fall apart, and it absolutely will. So we get him here. Yep, see, there he goes. And then we flip the helmet down as such. And yeah, this does not look very stable, and it's not. It is as unstable as I was trying to get it to work that first time I got this thing. It's just another day or two of R&D would have made this work. I mean, even if it was just have the gauntlets, have the fist attached to the gauntlet and just take this off and slide this up, that would have been fine. But it's got the stump that does not want to click into anything. And it's just obnoxious as all hell, because this thing just scoots around a lot, and getting this thing to hold into place is folly. So, like I say, not a review, but I don't love this. And you can't even, I'm thinking, oh, maybe I could just put this here and then slide it through, but no, that is absolutely not going to happen. Let's see if that works. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it absolutely will happen. I will feel silly about my complaint if it does. Yeah, no, that is not gonna go through. No, silly. Why would anything be easy? It's an adult collectible after all. So basically, yeah, screw this thing. So back there, you get the idea. It also includes a different crest, if you want the more accurate giant, crest on top of this thing. And it comes with a set of extra pieces here if you want to try to get the Dragon Fighter cannon thing going. It can be done. I've done it with a bunch of fiddling, but it is honestly not really worth the effort. I am going to try to get this arm on so I can at least show you how it is supposed to look. Just popped off the shoulder while trying to do this, and there goes the other hand. So yeah, this is where those legs are a pain in the ass too, because it's kind of like doing the splits while you're trying to hold it. I guess if you did the gauntlet first, yeah, just pop that right off. Yeah, so if this were a review, I would say it's not bad. It looks pretty cool, but it's fiddly as all hell. And you can probably see why I am not super anxious about keeping this big ass box around for this honestly kind of substandard figure. Again, I paid like $60 for this thing, and for that price I really can't complain with what Japanese toys, especially adult collectible Japanese toys, cost. So not gonna be too hard on it, but if you're thinking about adding this to your collection, just keep in mind it's probably not going to be something you're going to be able to play around with regularly or at all. And I bought it largely to sit on my shelf, and when I do that, I have it in dragon mode. I don't have it in this combined form. So it's fine. To tell you what's not fine, though, the instruction booklet is just a pain in the actual ass. Even if you can read Japanese, all of these little explanations are not super helpful. There's just a lot of like crap here that is not well explained, and it doesn't take into account that some of these things are made difficult by the alternately extremely tight and extremely loose joints. Also, just in case any Japanese toy companies, or toy companies in general, are paying attention to this video, which they're not, print your instructions in color. if you've got a transforming robot with like a million different moving parts, print the damn instructions in color so you can tell exactly which parts need to go where. Okay? That's just, come on, I'm paying how much money for these things? Even if you don't print the damn instructions in color, put the color versions online. Okay? Like let me QR code, some instructions that I can actually figure out. Yes, please. Okay, thanks. Thank you. Probably going to get worse from here. So here's Thunder Gridman, which I paid significantly more money for than King Gridman because I wanted this. I wanted Servo, I wanted Gridman. More so even than Xenon or Thunder Gridman / Synchro. I wanted this because this looks cool. This looks really, really cool. So I don't think I paid retail price, but I paid more for it than I did for Thunder Gridman over here in this pile. And the reason for that is it is moderately less frustrating, especially in combined form. Okay, let's flip over the back here. You can actually get that pose if you want to. Yeah, so Thunder Gridman, God Xenon Gridman, God Tank, Thunder Jet, and Twin Driller. And shows if you really kind of cheat on this, you can get some of the combiner poses from the show. And again, the show is where I was introduced to Tim Curry for the first time. So that was exciting. That was the first time that I saw his name on anything and recognized, oh, he's the voice of like basically every bad guy on every cartoon I've been watching for most of my life. So yeah, here's the actual Gridman, and they did not skimp on him. He's got the sword, the shield, and then both combinations of the sword and the shield. Would have been kind of nice if it was functional and not just separate included pieces. But again, I do get it. Adult collectible. There we go. Gridman, Synchro. Not Synchro. Servo. This was a beautiful figure back in the 90s, and it is such a cool look. The red, white, blue, silver, some yellow on there. Really, really cool. He's got that weird, like, mullety haircut thing. Paint is nice. Joints suck. Like, this is supposed to have some articulation here. When I tried to get the articulation to move here, it didn't work, but it did point out that this is just attached by, like, spite, basically. Like, this is not supposed to just pop off like this, but it does. So, kind of sucks. Because some of these joints are basically frozen in place, can't do the, I can't do the pose where he's, got the, whatever the fuck this thing is called, shooting forward, which I kind of like to do. Also, these hands, basically all these hands that are supposed to grip things, oh my god. They're sort of soft, sort of not, but you have to, like, peel the things open in order to get the swords and stuff in there, which You know, it would have been simplicity itself to just have this come off, but instead you have to, like, literally peel the thing's hand open to get him to hold the sword. I mean, I did not put him in that thing. He just kind of flopped that way. Pretty cool, though. Looks nice. This looks nice on a shelf. I just wish that it had, again, a little bit better quality control so that looking nice is not all it could do. If this had been included with the dragon, I would have stopped there. The other stuff was never really, you know, as much my jam. I think that's a joke, because one of those things was called Jam, but I'm not sure. But as it wasn't, I bought this set, and I got the robots along with it, and I'm glad I did, because, man, this took me back. I got this secondhand from a friend of mine who was also into what we would later find out is called toku stuff. But I bought the Japanese version like 15 years ago before the price went up, and sold it, unfortunately, before the price went up. And this is just incredibly nostalgic, how this is laid out, the colors, everything. I had, when I was younger, before I bought the full-size ones, I bought the little smaller ones that could combine, but this one did not combine into Xenon. You could just do the small parts and then the armor mode. But this one can turn into God Xenon, which is pretty sweet, because he looks like Optimus Prime, and that was 100% of what made me care about him at all as a child. So here we go. We got the twin jet. Unlike the original, you have to pop off these red things to connect him into the leg ports, and unfortunately this one very, very tight, and this one not at all, which is a bummer. This is what could generously be referred to as a tank. These things come off, showing that the paint also comes off on the connecting part, which makes zero sense to me as to why they didn't just use the same orange plastic for this piece. That's a head scratcher. And the jet, which does still include the landing gear. I want to say I paid 14,000 yen for this, which would have been just over $100 at the time, which is not cheap for just, you know, a kind of want it buy, but what the hell. So turn him into God Xenon. Basically flip down the feet here. Oh. Turn this inside out. There's a bunch of different ways you could do this. And I always used to have fun as a kid, like experimenting with the different potential configurations. But this is how you're supposed to do it. It's kind of cool that the thing flips in half like both ways, so you're not just, you know, using Xenon's legs for Thunder Gridman. This is the stuff that I like, anyway. It's a really nice shade of white. I hope it doesn't discolor, because this is a really pleasant shade of white on here. Pop off these things. I don't know if this is intentional or not, but you can store them in here so that you don't lose them. And I know that because when I was getting these things off my shelf to make this video, I thought that I had lost them. And then I heard them rattling around in there. I was like, oh, right. I put them in there so they wouldn't get lost, and then I forgot about it. Smart. That's why I don't hide money around the house. I would 100% forget where I put it. Yeah, once again, this one, super tight. This one, not so much. The transformation, again, is very, very similar to the full-size version, although this one does omit one step, which means you gotta have this black back piece, like, just hanging off, which is, you know, not great. You know, not loving that. Would prefer if that was not the case. Look at that, not even pretending not to be Optimus Prime. Alright. One thing I always liked about like Toku robots is they were fairly simple to transform back and forth, you know, combine, do whatever. Because I mean, they were absolutely made for younger kids, and that was always something that really annoyed me when I used to let myself get annoyed with nerd shit. Yeah, that's not great. Guess what just happened there? Yeah, that's right. The thing just fell apart on me. The leg just popped off. And I still let myself get annoyed with nerd shit. Was people who kept saying that, oh, in Japan, Toku stuff, Power Rangers, whatever, is like much more mature. It's much more adult. And I was like, no, it's not. It's made with literal kindergartners in mind. It's just that, you know, the Japanese audience is not quite as squeamish about certain things as the U.S. audience and censors were at the time. So, yeah, you're stuck with this black part just hanging out here. But nice looking robot. This leg does not want to stay in place for anything, but it is a nice looking robot on its own. Good old God Xenon. I think it looks much cooler in this configuration than as Synchro or Thunder Gridman, which is why on my display I have him displayed like this. I think that these two together look much cooler than the combined version. So with that said, let's combine them. Same deal here. Thank you for that easy to remove leg. Just see that, it just fell into 4 different pieces. Oh, they're wonderful. I know I sound like I'm being harsh on this thing, but I mean, I would not be bothering to do a video if I just actively disliked it. It's not a bad figure. It's actually really, really cool. Just suffers from really irritating quality control problems that I really, really wish had been taken care of before it hit the market. And a bit of a moment here. There we go. Alright. It might be COVID brain is messing up some of my perceptions. Yeah, so fold up the backpack. This happy little angry face out. Flip down the skirts. Get this sword out of his hand, hopefully without breaking the goddamn hand off. Fortunately, this one does let you keep the hands on when you combine it. You got the legs here, flip those completely inside out. And clip the things backwards. Out comes the foot. Wouldn't be a Japanese combining thing without the shot of the foot closing around the boot. The boot closing around the foot, such as it were. And this actually does have a plug to get in there, so it holds on nice and securely. I wonder if this came out like after after the other one. Like maybe they worked some of the problems out there. I mean, that seems very unlikely. This would be the one that most everyone would want, because the Japanese audience would have not been getting into this series purely because they couldn't get a Dragon Zord toy. They could get Dragon Zord toys. They were not terribly difficult to get here. They were not terribly popular. When I came to Japan, actually, Zyuranger stuff was plentiful and cheap. I got the a boxed, basically untouched Dragon Caesar, Dragon Zord. My first Mandarake trip, it was 1,800 yen, so at the time like $18. Wish I had not sold it for like $20 during one of my moves, because that's both an uncommon figure and an expensive one these days. And I am tempted to say that the similar thing happened with Superhuman Samurai Cyber Squad, where the Gridman figures went to collectors who were bigger fans of the American version than the all but forgotten Japanese version. Yeah, pop off the helmet there. And Nightmare Fuel. Yes. Should add a caveat to that with Power Rangers and with Gridman. The Sentai versions were and the Gridman versions were the higher quality and more show accurate versions, which is another reason why they're more popular with fans outside of Japan than inside. And they're commanding a premium even over what the actually branded Power Ranger and Gridman figures, or Power Ranger and Superhuman Samurai figures cost. Getting the plug into this guy's back is just proving obnoxious. That does not look great, does it? Alright. I know this is going to come off again, so I'll just keep it off for now. See, I did buy these new. Like I said, they were not used. I got them from a hobby store, but they were still sealed, which means that they are more loose, straight out of the package, than the ones that I played with for years as a kid were after those several years, which is kind of an indictment of the quality there. Video is now at 50 minutes long, which seems a bit much for something that I just wanted to throw together real quick so that I could throw out the boxes. At this point I'm wondering if I should throw out the boxes or just get rid of the figures themselves. Oof. Catty. Yeah. Holy shit. Okay, so admittedly this probably would be easier if I was using a different fist than the one that is meant to hold the sword, but I also don't feel like changing that right now, so screw it. Alright, flip out the horn. The horn flips out, just, because it does on the original toy, but much like with the other guy, it does include the extra larger horn if you want it slightly more show accurate. Okay, so yeah, not a review. I don't necessarily recommend these. If you can get them for a price that you are happy with, they could make for some nice shelf candy. If you are doing action figure photography, which is something that I like to dip my toe into once in a while, they are a size that they will not be particularly difficult to photograph in your little, lightbox studio or whatever, as the originals are. But okay, I mean, it's just in for a penny, in for a pound. Let's get these things in. When you're trying to get them into a pose, and you're not also trying to get them, on the other side of the camera while you're doing video, they're not quite as bad. I know I have not done these a lot of favors with regards to this video, and I'm sorry about that. But I wanted to get these thoughts out before I jumped the boxes. And yeah, these are going to go back on my shelf in their preferred modes, and they are going to sit there untouched until inevitably some company releases a better version. I'm sure that at some point in the future we'll get a Soul of Chogokin set, and it'll probably be similar to this with Servo and Xenon in one set, and then some bullshit and Drago in another set, and they'll be like 35,000 yen each, which probably works out to about $600, which is still what you'd pay for only Thunder Gridman if you got the original here. So whatever, but tread carefully, because, like I say, these two sets, great in theory. They are not as bad as I think I'm making them look, but quality control issues have made it so that I could not, in good conscience, recommend it. I don't recommend not getting it, but I can't recommend actually going so far as to buy these. So that's going to be all from me. Thank you all very much. I'm going to get these out with the trash. Take care, and happy hobbying.